Y'all gotta do it if y'all wanna get it. We were born ready, yeah, and y'all gotta get it. Y'all gotta move it if y'all gonna get it. We were born ready, yeah, and y'all gotta get it. Goddamn. Back to back to back to back with it. Y'all don't want it, buddy. Y'all just be capping and the moving steady batting, but y'all can't hit it. Y'all was born rats and we was.
I know what you're all thinking. Where's Vlad? Well, we have a special surprise today. Vlad's not here, but we do have a special guest joining us. Now, they say lightning doesn't strike in the same place twice, but
Yo.
welcome to Especially Disrespectful. Special guest God is back in town. So last time you told us we're not going to see you.
Yeah, but what happened was I got back and they were like, we have all this shit for you to do. And I was like, cool. So I did all my shit and I'm expecting to start when I was told I was going to start. And then they were like, oh, by the way, your official start date is actually like 3 weeks later. So I was like, huh, okay.
You didn't know that ahead of time?
No, so I was supposed to start on the 12th, but then they pushed me back to the 26th. So yeah, it's like 2-3 weeks roughly. And then, I finished everything that I had to do. And I was like, okay, so what am I doing for the time being? They're like, well, we don't have anything for you right now. Oh, okay. So I put in my request. I was like, listen, I didn't see my friends and family for Thanksgiving. I was
Oh, you have to like justify your leave?
You don't have to justify it. Oops, that was a little...
But the extra context is good.
The extra context matters, especially because they don't want you leaving roughly 2 weeks prior to you starting. Because there's a whole bunch of last minute shit that they schedule all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, hey, listen, justification. I was on temporary duty in Japan for 2 months. I didn't see my friends and family for Thanksgiving. And I didn't see them for Christmas and New Year's. And, New Year's is a pretty big deal for us. It's
everybody, yeah.
But, I mean, Eastern Europeans specifically,
Mm-hmm.
It's like one of those things.
Yeah.
And, yeah, they screwed up my leave during those times, so I couldn't take it. And I was like, listen, I didn't see anybody for those blocks. Like, I think I deserve going home for 9 days or whatever the fuck I put in.
Yeah.
Especially since I've been pretty on top of my shit. I've been pretty squared away, so... the major looks at me. He's like, all right, man, you got it.
How many times, how does it work? Is it a few times a year you could, like, technically request leave?
No, you can request leave whenever you want, technically. You build up 2.5 days per month.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so, I've built up quite a bit. I didn't really use that much.
Yeah.
And so I had about 32 days built up. And those 10 days that I took the first time I came back, 2 weeks ago, that was free. That didn't come out of my balance.
So you're really just using it now.
So I'm only just using it now. And then, I'm going to be in training for 6-7 months. That's like an extra 15 days right there.
You're not going to, yeah.
So I'm not going to miss this at all. So, and they always say, use it. Don't build it up. Don't save it. It's not a paycheck or anything.
Because they could also say no, right?
They could also say no. Yeah, there are times, if you're in the middle of shit, where you have to be there and... if you take a day here and there.
Yeah, obviously for emergencies or something.
Or not even that. Burnout happens in this line of business. And if you're fucking...
What do you do? You're an Amazon driver?
Yeah. I go up and down the country. I got all these levers and buttons in my truck.
Everybody's thinking that this is some kind of convoluted Amazon what? 2.5 days?
Bezos is not very, he's not very kind. He's not very generous, so...
Dude, I ordered some shit off of Amazon 2 days ago. No, yesterday, and it's it'll be there overnight. I was like, God bless you fucking guys.
Dude, does it tell you 4 a.m. to 8 a.m.?
Dude, yes. And then guess what? I wake up today, I'm like, who the fuck? I got a missed call at 4:30 a.m. Dude, who the fuck does that?
They have these poor bastards running around at 3 in the morning.
Dude, I look at my Amazon, they're like, we couldn't get access to the building. I'm like, yeah, because it's 4 a.m. And the guy started texting me. He's like, oh, secure your doors, secure any pets and dogs. I'm like, bro. And the funny part is, I ordered off of Amazon a green suit and 2 dumbbells weighing 15 pounds each. So this dude at 4 a.m. is holding this box, trying to get into the building. Little does he know, I'm sleeping. and I'm looking, I'm like, how the fuck? Bro, 4 a.m., missed call, Seattle, Washington. I would never pick up, you know what I mean? Who the fuck?
That's a scam call, brother.
Dude, I've gotten calls like that before. Like 5 a.m., I'd pick up the phone, I'm barely awake, and I'm like, I'm quiet. Do you get anxiety when some random number calls you?
See, the thing is, I can't because, for the record, I am a student pilot in the military.
That's actually a good. We got completely ignored that, but yes, Georgie's training to be a pilot.
But every single call that you get, in case anybody needs to get a hold of you, whether it's duty or just somebody who's administratively in charge of you needs to know, like, hey, where you at? Like, just so you're accountable, and accountability is all good,
reachable and all that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're from all over the place. So I've gotten very used to getting phone calls from
like Cuba.
Well, not Cuba. But like, dude, I've gotten calls from all over the place. Colorado, Arkansas.
Okay.
Like, I'll pick up my phone. I'll see it's like an Arkansas phone number. It's like, oh, okay, it's a Marine's calling me. Somebody's calling me. I gotta fucking pick up.
But what about before? Because now you expect that like you're gonna get a call from whatever state. But what about like before you got, like when you were in school or something like that?
I wouldn't even pick up. I would just,
now, is it because you were anxious?
I would hang up. I don't think so. I just didn't really want to deal with it.
I get scared of phone calls. Every time I get and I don't know if it's like a generational thing. I was talking to my boss about this before, and he's like older. He's like late 30s, and he said that he noticed that a lot of people like my age, like the younger generation, they're like very anxious on phone calls, and they don't like answering doors, phone calls. That's what happens to me. Every time I get a phone call and I don't know who it is, I answer it, put it on speaker, and mute it, and I just wait.
See, I think that's a little bit different than what your boss is talking about, because those old grew up on fucking landlines and yellow pages and white pages, dude. I mean, you remember when we were like fucking 10, 11 years old and like the yellow pages, it was still at the front door.
Everybody had home phones.
Exactly, that too. Everybody had fucking landlines and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And people were used to, hey, if I need to get a hold of this person, I need to either go to them, physically find them, and ask them whatever I need to ask them, or do whatever I got to do, or I have to pick up the phone, dial the fucking phone number that I'm finding in white pages, or if I have it, written down somewhere, and then call them up that way. Now it's like you just text the person. So there's not much sort of, a phone call is not a face-to-face interaction, in my opinion. But it's still some kind of an interaction still. But a text message is devoid of all of that. There's no face-to-face interaction.
Well, you could also ghost them. You could like leave it as it is.
Exactly. You could do that too. But what I think is with you is just, it's not more so of like you've gotten used to texting. It's just, you know what, actually, like, I'm a little paranoid about this, but like with the whole AI shit going on, like, they can fucking record your voice and make it so that you're singing, some very unflattering songs by Kanye West that's come out recently. But like, still, like they can do that shit. They can record your voice and then make it like saying something else.
I saw an ad, and I actually thought about this a long time ago, but I'm like, oh, that'd be cool. I saw an ad recently where it was a guy. He was way older than my boss or anything, but the ad was him being like, you get spam called and you don't want to answer it. Well, we made an AI software, whatever, that answers the phone for you as like an assistant, and then it takes a message, and then you can listen back to it because you don't want to answer the phone.
That's good.
Is it?
You might have to blur that out.
No, I think that word's back. Trump's back in office, so I think everybody could say that word.
Oh, we're back.
We're back.
Nah, I think that's stupid, dude.
Yo, come on, what is this?
I'm honestly, I was very anti AI, but now I'm kind of like, it's got its usefulness.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But that is an example of what I would consider over dependence. When you become so overly dependent on something like that, for example, to where you need to set up a virtual assistant to take calls because you either don't want to do it, you're too lazy to do it.
But it's like a voicemail, in a way.
Then make a voicemail.
Well, yeah, but...
And don't pick up the call. I mean, it's really simple.
I think it's because people just don't leave voicemails anymore.
So I get voicemails pretty often.
Well, I think whoever's calling is more prone to like actually leave something. They feel like they're talking to someone.
If you have something important to transmit, to communicate, or to say, you can leave a voicemail. I wholeheartedly believe that. If you can't take time out of your day, you're already calling. If you can't take the time to say what you need, be like, hey, call me back, or hey, I just need an answer on this, or whatever it is in a voicemail, then I don't need to hear whatever the you're saying. And if you have something important to communicate to me and you don't want to leave a voicemail, that's on you. Or text me at least, or something. But
I don't know. I think, but that's just kind of the timeline with AI. In the beginning, it's going to be things that make your life easier, and then it's going to get to things where it's like, oh, I guess we didn't really need this to be an AI thing, but now it is. And you remember last time, Vlad, when we were all here, Igor, can you pull up the Piers Morgan clip where he was talking to that movie producer? Remember how we were talking about
writing and...
Well, I said that, in my opinion, at some point, AI is going to take over like the movie industry and all this shit. And then you guys were like, nah, no way. It's not going to happen. I was watching Piers Morgan, and I'm trying to see if he could. Yep. Hold that for a sec. So Piers Morgan was talking to this guy, and they just kind of got on the topic of Hollywood. And I don't know if you saw Trump saying that he's going to put 100% tariffs on movies made outside the U.S. because they want to, like, over the years, I've heard like Ben Affleck and all these celebrities talk about making movies outside the U.S. because it's just so much cheaper.
In what way, though? Like hiring production companies outside of the United States?
Probably. Or? I mean, in L.A., it's so expensive at this point is what I was reading.
Okay. I mean, they already film all over the place all the time.
I know,
so
but
what
I think
exactly
now,
are they talking about? Writers, producers, directors. I mean, already there's international actors all over Hollywood.
I don't know about writers because that's, I think it's more of like the actual physical part of filming, staffing.
Okay, like sets and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So they're like leaving the country, and this guy right here was talking about how Hollywood's kind of worried about what's coming next. So Igor, play it.
I will say that I think the tactics should be less about how do we penalize people going abroad and making movies, and more to the point he was making toward the end of that video clip, how do you incentivize homegrown American-made content? That to me is the more effective way of doing this. But I'll also say, on top of all of this, I fear that all of this is going to be moot, because in 2 to 5 years, AI is going to be replacing everything, not just my industry, but jobs across all industries. And so I think what I would love for the president to really be looking into is not simply incentivizing how to get more American jobs, but how to hold on to more human jobs. Because we could bring those jobs back to America, but if we don't protect against AI companies allowing basically anyone to just sit at home and without really any talent or skill or time to learn any of those things, but with a few creative ideas and a few keystrokes to just say, I want a movie that looks and feels and sounds like this, enter, and for a one of one to be propagated right in front of.
I mean,
I think we're a little. What did you say? 2 to 5 years?
Yeah.
I think 2 to 5 years is a very
too soon to you?
It's a very too soon kind of timeline. I mean, this technology for what it is still in its infancy. I mean, doing something like typing in, I want a movie that looks like this, sounds like this, feels like this, gets this message across.
But it's already doing that with some things.
Sure. It's. I'm not saying it's not already doing something like that. I mean, there's no way it can produce a 1.5 hour film.
I
that
right
has
now no
complex themes and good acting for what AI acting could be, or voice acting or anything like that. It's definitely not there yet.
When did ChatGPT come out, Igor?
Like 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
No, really? It's been that long already?
Maybe.
I could have sworn it was like fairly recent, or at least 2022.
22, man. 3 years
November.
ago.
So pretty much early 2023. I think at this point, right? Because remember, it came out, and I think a lot of people had its reserves about it. It was still kind of like, in my opinion, it picked up pace like half a year after that release date. And now you need thumbnails, you need digital art, you need scripts, you need ChatGPT pretty much does anything. And to me, saying that, at what point will this thing start making 15-minute movies, 20-minute movies? I don't think it's going to be that long.
Okay. I mean, you wanna do an experiment?
What do you mean?
All right, let's do an experiment. Iggy, can you get a blank ChatGPT script going? Or yeah. All right. Let's ask it to write a script for a 2-minute short.
Let's make a children's
A children's thing?
Yeah, I imagine parents would want like to make, custom little movies for their kids.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's go with what do you think?
All right. let's decide on a theme. What kind of a theme do we want it to have?
Horror.
A horror theme.
Yeah.
Okay. So write a script for a 2-minute horror short that encompasses, all right, what kind of things do we want it to encompass?
Let's do, I don't know, a cabin in the woods.
Okay, that encompasses, I'm not talking about the setting. I'm talking about like the world building. What is the story about? Like how a romance could be about infidelity, but it could also be about like taking care of a sick lover. Like, what are we going with?
We could do some post-apocalyptic thing.
All right. Yeah, let's write a script for a 2-minute horror short that encompasses themes about brotherhood and compassion in a post-apocalyptic world.
Okay.
All right, so we have that, and so we already have a setting, post-apocalyptic world. How is it post-apocalyptic? Zombies, nuclear attack.
Let's do zombies. Let's do zombies. It's very basic. Let's do
that
zombies.
Was destroyed by. You don't need the comma there. That was destroyed by a zombie virus. And then let's have it create the protagonist. We're gonna have it create the protagonist.
Okay.
And all any related side characters that you choose. And this is a very bare bones thing to ask.
Yeah.
You could always,
anybody can make this.
Yeah, and if you wanna actually utilize this, you'd have to spend like maybe an hour, like really refining
a good prompt.
Yeah, refining the prompt and all that kind of stuff. But just for the sake of experimentation, let's see what it fucking shits out.
All right, let's do it. Here we go.
All right, title: The Last Good Deed.
Not bad.
It's a post-apocalyptic horror / emotional drama. It's a 2-minute short, setting a decaying city in the aftermath of a zombie virus. Overgrown streets, crumbling buildings, silence save for the occasional distant groan. Okay, that's pretty standard.
Yeah.
Dim light seeps through broken blinds. Cans line the wall. A bloodstained map lines the floor. Narrator: They say the virus brought out the worst in us, but that's not the full story. That's already a little... I could see how that needs to be refined.
Yeah, but
Jackson, 28. Now let's look at this from a writer's perspective, a director's perspective, right? We have to cast actors at least.
I know, but if you're looking at it from a writer's or director's perspective, they wouldn't do it like a quick thing, right? They would.
Oh
sit
no!
there
Again,
and,
this is just experimentation purposes, but.
But for experimentation, this is pretty good already.
Jackson, 28, rugged but kind-eyed, loads a pistol while glancing at a half-eaten canned peach. Nearby, a frail teenager, 16, Ellie, sleeps on a thin mattress. All right. Do you see where it's going with this? It's using whatever's publicly available. I mean, already we can kind of see.
Of course, but what I'm saying is
it's not what's it called? It's not groundbreaking.
I don't think so. Here's the thing, because there was a person who left a comment on a short I posted, very similar to this, and they were saying how about original work. I don't think it's gonna do crazy original work, but what I'm saying is, right now, right? I feel like movies that come out, they're just, most of the time, they're trash. And the really good ones, you could count on your hand and you probably remember them. In the future, when you want movies like Goodfellas or like, I don't know, The Titanic, all you would need it to do is mimic that feel. You wouldn't even need it to make a super original thing. But because, say, you like the world in it or something like that. I mean, think about it. Imagine extending the world. You want a movie or a short movie that's built in the world that already exists in another movie. That has the potential for this to do that.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you there, but my point is that this is still a tool. It will require somebody to put in the work to ask it the right things, to have it spit out the right things,
100%,
and then
yeah.
refine those right things. The thing is, what that guy sounded like he was talking about, 2 to 5 years replacing my job, that almost sounds as if all a movie's going to take is like somebody with enough money to be typing into chat. Like, it's going to be like a 1, 2, 3 man show, when typically movies are it's a huge fucking team effort.
And they still fuck up so
I mean,
often. I mean, how different is it? You know, you look at something like Rings of Power or something this, where you hire people, the most expensive. That looks like Joel from Last of Us.
That's what I was saying. Like
yeah.
the whole theme started going towards into Last of Us, because that's what's popular right now.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people are talking about, and it's probably one of the most. I mean, I don't want to talk out of my ass, but it's right now probably one of the most popular horror apocalyptic TV shows out there.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's definitely using that as a huge fucking stepping ground.
But that's what I was saying is I don't think it's there yet to make original work. But I think if you wanted to mimic something, which at this point I feel like most people don't really value originality. Now, if you're like a well-spoken, you read and stuff like that, and you appreciate art, yeah, you're going to pick up on those things. But majority of people, especially kids, and that's where most of the money comes in for these things anyway. That's why kid movies make so much money. Merch and all that shit for children makes money. That's the best audience you could pull. And, you know, you wouldn't need that much original storytelling. You know what I mean? The Princess and Prince story, that's been retold like a billion times.
You don't like Romeo and Juliet?
Just any concept where there's a princess and a prince saves her, or like something like that. I feel like that's just been done so many times as well. And
yeah, you could say that. Well, again, my whole point was that it's not. Look, I don't know enough about this industry, nor have I ever worked in it, to make any sort of concrete statements. However, from the amount of knowledge I do possess, I can confidently, am I right or wrong? I don't know, but I can confidently say that 2 to 5 years is a very soon kind of timeline. Maybe 5-10 years, maybe. I would just be a little more conservative
I hear
on
what
the
you're
timeline
saying.
of this replacing everything.
I think the only reason to me 2 to 5 years sounds good is because it builds on itself, right? So it's going to make one
Sure.
leap. It's going to make one leap, and then it's going to keep going and going. I mean, at this point, you have them making thumbnails, making there's just so much stuff you could have it do, and you could really make videos, even art, without putting much thought to it.
Yeah, the progression of this technology is definitely not linear. It's probably exponential to anything, or if I had to put a label on it, it's probably exponential. But yeah,
that's what me and Vlad. I mean, I feel like me and Vlad talked about it for a few episodes in a row, but I mainly feel bad for like the younger generation, as like old man of me to say that is, but
well, like I was talking about earlier, dude, overdependence. When you use this to completely cut out everything in your life, like if you have to write an essay, you use this to write an essay.
But you know, kids are doing that.
Of course they're doing that, dude. I mean, you're paying fucking, $20,000, $30,000. I mean, okay, that's $20,000 is not realistic anymore. But like you're paying between $30,000 to $100,000 for a college education.
Yeah.
You're telling me that kids aren't gonna fucking take whatever
Shortcuts.
tools they have, to maximize their grades, since I mean so much is dependent on them finishing school and getting good grades at that.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, dude, I wouldn't be, I mean, I'm not surprised at all that kids are using this at all. I mean, it's almost expected. Is it unfortunate? Yeah, because they're not reading as much. They're not writing as much. It's sort of like been taken out because of this. I mean, writing is considered an art form.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
So, and it's like it's one of those essential things that I think a person should be able to do. Obviously nobody's expected to be writing like fucking, Kafka or fucking Kurt Vonnegut or anything like any of those crazy authors, but or classic authors, but it plays a part in being able to express yourself.
I have a solution for this.
Clearly and eloquently,
I believe I have a solution to ChatGPT being used in schools and people using it as a shortcut. Instead of having like a written assignment that you just submit, have people defend their work. Make it a presentation. You write the essay, defend it. Defend your work. That's probably, even aside from checking if they actually did it, it's probably the best way for you to demonstrate how well you know the material.
And how well you know your own writing.
Exactly. So
if somebody asks, like, hey, why did you write this? And you didn't write it, ChatGPT wrote it, or whatever the fuck wrote it.
Yeah.
Your defense of it is not going to be that great.
Exactly. Even if you spend time reading your work after it's done by ChatGPT, it's not yours. So
yeah, there's a difference when you come up with your own ideas and you have your own justification for your ideas.
Yeah.
Versus just reading up on it and fucking making a spark notes of the written. I mean, that's just fucking stupid.
So there you go. DOE hit our line. We got a solution for you.
Yeah, you have the two next Secretary of Educations, right? Yeah, throw whoever the fuck is there right now. Clearly, they're not doing a good job. Who the fuck is it, dude? I'm pretty sure it's somebody not fucking qualified at all.
Yeah, 100%, bro.
It's never.
Head of the DOE. Who is it? Chris. Just Chris.
No, that's Department of Energy. Department of Education.
That's so dumb. DOE should usually pop up.
Linda.
Oh, right.
No way.
Dude, she got...
I didn't know that.
Bro, wasn't she tombstoned on WWE at some point? Yes.
Yes.
Right, I forgot. Hey, type in Linda McMahon tombstone. Dude, this is America right here. The fact that you could do this.
This is quite the ladder she's climbed, dude.
Dude, literally. Yeah, Linda McMahon tombstone. Yeah, look. Kane tombstone her ass, bro. Play that video. Bro, this is the head of the Department of Education right here, bro. Look, Uncle Festus is... Oh, dude.
Bro.
Dude, that's so fucked. That's crazy. WWE was insane. Boom. Dude, Department of Education head right there.
Oh, it's great, dude.
Man, America's... What's that?
Now he's mayor.
Yeah.
Who's mayor?
Kane. Glenn Jacobs. He's a mayor.
Of what? What is going on, dude?
Dude, people underestimate WWE. Mayor of Knox County, buddy.
What the hell is Knox County?
Where is that? That's how you know we're really American, because we have no idea where
Mayor Kane is an American politician, professional wrestler. Tennessee. Huh? Oh, there's a bunch of Knox counties.
I'm pretty sure it's probably Tennessee. Isn't that where he was? Where was he born?
Yep. Yeah, it's probably Tennessee.
Yeah,
he was.
Yeah,
okay.
Knox County, Tennessee.
Knox County, Tennessee.
Bro.
All right.
This is
He's
great.
7 foot tall.
Yeah, dude.
Holy shit, that dude's a giant, dude.
What? Have you never seen WWE?
Can you fucking gauge that he's 7 foot tall in that video?
Well, you're probably right. I just know
especially
that he's giant.
as a kid.
Yeah,
I can tell he's giant, but 7 feet tall is like giant. You know.
I mean, I feel like we, as a very tall person myself.
Dude, I'm pretty sure his daughter's taller than me.
I'm pretty sure his his whole leg is taller than you.
His 10-year-old daughter is probably taller than me, dude.
His is taller than you. That's crazy, bro. American politics is wild. I'm curious if this goes on in other countries where like some guy who was on a soap opera becomes president. Well, whoops. I was talking about macaroon. Emmanuel Macaroon.
No, it's definitely. It's not. I don't think it's an uncommon thing where
politicians. Actors go into politics.
Well, not even actors, but just like anybody from any walk of life. Well, not any walk of life.
All right,
but...
and this is the most cookie cutter statement. Anyone from anywhere could become anything. Like, thanks, Georgie. I love this video of Zelensky playing the piano with his stick. Dude, that's the guy.
That's a wartime leader.
That's a wartime leader, and that's the guy talking to every leader, making serious decisions, and spending my tax money. That's crazy. Dude, you know what I remembered? You weren't here, but in April they had protests over here. It was the hands-off protest against Trump and Musk. And it was like nationwide, I think. It wasn't just here.
Is that when they were f***ing Teslas and shit?
Well, they just do that in general, but hands-off protest was like, I think it was about the I don't want to speak out of my... It might be about the U.S. aid being cut or some shit like that.
USA being cut from...
Hands-off, as used in context of protest, specifically hands-off protest means to demand that particular entities such as the government or a powerful individual stop interfering with... Okay, so basically because Musk was like involved in Doge and all that.
Yeah, I mean...
But you know what's crazy is I saw the protests happening in Manhattan because I worked there, and then I went on Twitter, and you know I'm crazy, so I follow all the conspiracy theory accounts, and they started posting like, "Don't believe it! They're being driven into New York from Philadelphia. I saw the buses. They're handing out money," and I'm like, "Damn, bro, that's how it starts." What are you doing? I'm gonna zoom in on that when this is posted. What is this?
Spitter, dude.
Oh yeah, I mean the protests were like happening everywhere, and then it kind of got me thinking about Georgie being very professional right now, answering his was on Grindr. Are there any conspiracy theories you actually believe? Are you allowed to talk about that?
My views do not represent the Department of Defense or the United States or any sort of official government entity of the United States.
That said,
I don't know if I have conspiracies, dude. Throw one at me.
well, this isn't a conspiracy, but this is something I thought about recently. Well, I actually knew this for a while, but then it got me like thinking and shit. So I started looking into like how many kids go missing every year, right? And I think it's the upward of 400,000 kids go missing every year in the United States. In the United States alone, right?
There's
Now,
a lot of fucking weird people out there.
right. Now, when you look into this, then I start thinking, I'm like, well, how come I've never even heard about this? You don't hear it on the news. You don't see it on social media unless you know somebody directly affected by this. And then I start thinking like, back in the day they would have missing children's on the milk
cartons.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a whole thing about that.
I mean, there's Amber Alerts now.
Yeah, but bro, 400,000 kids a year is a lot.
That is a lot. I mean,
now if you look it up, it starts telling you that a lot of them are found. A lot of them are like kids just wandered off and then came back. Sometimes it's a family related thing where like an uncle takes a kid or like a brother, like just whatever it is. There's like a lot of it just falls in the statistic. But then
it's like I think it's similar to like a lot of child cases. It's like the majority of the time the perpetrator of on a child is like somebody close to the family or somebody in the family.
Right.
So
it's probably very rare that it's some guy in a park stealing. So then Igor just pulled up in 2014 NCMES.
91% of the missing children reported to them were recovered.
I don't believe that. Even if that's true, how come we still don't hear about these kids going missing?
I mean, dude, it's a big place, man. I mean, every state has its local news. Every county has its local news. Every township has its local news. I mean, it's stuff like that. You have to go dig for it. It's not going to be presented at you.
But this seems like a big problem. That almost 500,000 kids go missing every year. What's the population of kids in the United States? Let's look at it like that. Let's see.
It's a great tool for this?
Twitter.
I was going to say ChatGPT.
I know. Under the age of 18. All right, let's see. All right, 73 million.
73.2 million. All right, so 360,000 out of 73.2 million. What's the percent on that?
Igor's just like, fuck.
It just... That's what I'm saying. ChatGPT,
Look,
dude.
look. My point is this. Okay, the U.S. has like roughly like 300 million people living here, right? Almost 1/3 of that is kids. Now every year, 400,000 go missing, and obviously it's statistics, so they include some things, they miss out on other things. My thing is, I don't understand why we never hear about this. You could just typed in fucking. What did you type in? 73 million, right? Yo,
you got
that
an extra. I think you have an extra zero in there.
No. If that amount of kids goes missing and the population of kids in the U.S. doesn't change, it would take 221 years for all the kids in America to disappear.
it's not a lot of years.
That's also not the statistic that I asked for. that is definitely not the statistic that I asked for.
But thank you to our research team, research and development team over here. No, dude, I don't know. I think but hold on, it gets deeper, okay? Because these are just rabbit holes. So then you think about man, I don't want to get like not monetized ever. What are these fucking Einstein fucking equations, dude? You're gonna just leave it.
Boltzmann constant.
Fuck Georgie with his fucking questions, dude.
Oh, because it thought K was Kelvin. Okay. So it's less than 1%.
Of what?
It's less than 0.5% of all go missing in the United States
Every year.
every year. And then of those that go missing, roughly
So you believe.
90% get found.
Right, but we don't really know.
I guess not. Yeah, these are just. I mean, then do you really know anything?
So that's what I was thinking about. Like, you know how people are like, this was particularly funny. What is 91%? This was particularly funny during COVID. So you know how usually people will look something up and it'll be a department, a government agency or something reporting something. People are like, yeah, see, look, they said this. And then during COVID, they would say stuff and people would be like, you really believe the government? So people are very selective what they believe. So sometimes if you look something up and it tells you 91% are found, you believe that. But then when the same administration is going to tell you that, I don't know, there are nuclear bombs in Afghanistan, people are going to be like, no, I don't believe you. You're lying. Yet, like, you know what I'm saying? Selective, like, it's weird, dude. I think it's a really weird statistic, and I've never seen any post on Facebook, on Twitter, on anywhere about kids going missing. And again, even if they're found, they're still reported. So at the end of the day, you're still getting up to 400,000 kids going missing.
Well, the reporting aspect of it too. I mean, just last week, I happened to stumble on an article from a local news site in, where was it? It was like somewhere in Florida. And
I hate Florida.
This young girl got brutally murdered. I mean, like chopped up, all that shit. It was not good.
Serial killer vibe.
No, it was her uncle.
Oh.
It didn't
What
go,
did she do?
What did she do? What do you mean?
Well, what if it was like self-defense? What did she do? I'm kidding. Keep going. Yeah.
This guy.
Okay, yes.
No, like it never went past that local.
Oh, it never got out. Like,
yeah, it never went past that local news station, like the media bubble of like that local area. So, I mean, it's also on the selective reporting of larger media corporations. They decide what they want to report on. And the question to ask is, why do they decide on what they're like? What is the reason they're reporting on this instead of something else?
Does it have something to do with the Carlisle group? Can you look that up? Igor's like, he types, then he sits down, then he types back. I forgot what the Carlisle group is. I think it's they do something with the news and like TV or some shit like that.
I mean, dude, speaking of conspiracies, what about, there's a new cult I found out about, AllatRa.
The fuck
Have you ever heard of AllatRa? Yeah, exactly, dude. I mean, they're in government.
AllatRa?
AllatRa, yeah. There it is. They're like a climate. They're like a climate crazy cult, whatever.
The AllatRa.
Yeah,
International Public Movement is a controversial organization that has been described as a cult or a new religious movement and has faced accusations of promoting pro-Russian views, of course, and engaging in harmful activities. Founded in Ukraine.
If you look up the names of their founders, at least the people that publicly display themselves, because they have like their guru, the top of the top head guy who's
Right.
never been seen in public. He's only been on videos. But like this woman right here, she meets with a bunch of
She's active right now.
Yes, they're based out of like fucking where are they based? They're based out of like somewhere in the United States. I think in Atlanta,
Whoa.
Georgia. There's pictures of her and Marco Rubio,
Wait
the
a
senator,
second. Hold on.
I think,
So
or the congressman,
this-
whatever.
So this, how many? Is it like a closed? How many members? Like, how does it?
I don't know, dude. It's like
So what exactly? What do they do?
what do they do?
Yeah, what's their, what's their spiel?
What their spiel is that the world is ending, and that's it. Yeah, the world is ending. The world is going to suffer a terrible heat death or something because we're fucking it up, which we are. But
Yeah, but that doesn't sound like you need a cult to like push that narrative. I think most people agree with that. Whoa, that's so creepy. What the? Wait, so okay. Describes a former coal miner. I guess I'm just not understanding what their like goal is. Like what
I
do
mean,
you?
most of the time, do they really need a goal other than money and influence? Influence is a good goal.
But most of them are not in politics.
No, but you don't need to be in politics to have an influence over politics. Especially here. We have lobbyists.
Oh, well, hold on. It says right here, the AllatRa International Public Movement, often described as a cult, presents its goal as building a creative society free from consumerism. Well, that sounds like communism.
Extra step.
No wonder
Dude,
they're pro-Russian.
dude, they're rebranding. They're like, hold on.
Creative society.
Hold on, guys. We're not communist. We're creative.
Or creatives. Yeah, dude. But I mean, like, I forgot everything that I've read. I went into like this rabbit hole randomly a while back.
Like,
and
you know what?
but it's like, have you heard of them?
No, fuck no.
But they seemingly have influence.
Igor, how much time we got? I'm about to fucking go Super Saiyan on this shit. Yo, listen, bro. You know what like kills me about these things is every time I start looking into things deeper and deeper, it feels like everything is connected in the most like weird ways. People are connected and shit. I was what was I doing recently? Oh, so that whole thing about where Epstein was with Ghislaine Maxwell and I think it was who was that girl that ended up, unaliving herself 2 weeks ago? Davis. Forgot her name. It's very unprofessional. Virginia Jeffrey. Well, she was the girl who. Could you pull up a picture of her, Virginia?
She's the girl in the famous picture
with Prince Andrew.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking
Yes.
about. So she got like hired by Ghislaine Maxwell from Mar-a-Lago. She worked at Mar-a-Lago as like a masseuse or something like that, right? That's the famous picture. So she ended up unaliving herself 2 weeks ago or 3 at this point. And then I started looking into like that whole thing. Obviously, I think most people who know anything about Jeffrey Epstein, most people I think don't believe that he offed himself in prison. You know what I mean? Especially given the kind of guy he was and shit like that. And then Ghislaine Maxwell. Do you know anything about her dad, Robert Maxwell?
I don't know. Let me guess. Was he? Hold on. Let's play this game. You know where you stick the fork?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Was he involved in media?
Absolutely.
Okay. Was he also involved in intelligence?
Possibly.
Possibly.
That's some people think yes.
Some people think yes. Okay. Would this intelligence happen to be Israeli intelligence?
Those who believe he was involved, that's the intelligence they think he was involved
So they think he was involved with Mossad.
Yes.
So he was also involved in media.
Yes.
Large media corporations?
Yep.
Fox?
No.
CNN?
It's British.
It's British?
Yeah.
BBC?
No. It's a news it's they do newspapers. They're kind of
The
big.
Daily Herald. I don't fucking.
It's was it the Sun or the Mirror that he owned at some point? It's the Mirror. It's the Mirror.
Okay. So involved in media, ties to some kind of.
And he was in a parliament.
He was in politics.
Yep.
Okay.
He was also military.
Ex-military. All right.
He was in the Royal not the Navy. He was in the Royal Army.
Was he an officer?
I don't remember. There was a lot that was going on with this guy.
He's of British origin.
No. So he's
Hungarian.
He's Hungarian, and
Okay.
the part he was born in is now Ukrainian, from what I understand.
Mhm.
During World War II, he was doing a lot of like guerrilla warfare. He joined a bunch of different resistances, and then when he got to London or just England in general, he joined the Royal Army. Later on, he got into the Parliament.
Mhm.
Then he got into media, and in the end, basically he was like a very wealthy person. One of the companies that he founded was Pergamon Press. They did publishing for they did like scientific journals, shit like that, like educational stuff. Okay. So then when you break down what Pergamon Press is, Pergamon shows up in the Bible. It was a city in modern day Turkey, and was it the Old Testament or the Book of Revelation? In the Book of Revelations, there's actually a quote about Pergamon Press, and in it, Jesus said to it was a church, right? Who he sent
to the people of the city.
So yeah,
But
he
it was
said
sent to the church.
right. He said, "I know where you live, where Satan has his throne," meaning that Pergamon had Satan's throne, the city of Pergamon.
The altar was used for sacrifices to Zeus and Athena. Okay, so idol worship,
Right. So he ends up,
sacrifice.
yeah. So Robert Maxwell, who we've established is not an idiot, right? People like that, they don't act out of like, oh, it was just a random coincidence. He names his printing company Pergamon Press, which they do printing of educational stuff, scientific journals. And I think we both agree that the person who controls education controls information and people, right? I mean, whatever you push to kids in schools to learn, and the books, the textbooks, all that stuff.
I mean, think
But
about it. That's how it's always been, dude. If you control the divulging of information, then you control the narrative. And if you control the narrative, you can push whatever you want, essentially. I mean, it's not rocket science,
It's not. What always freaks me out is that a lot of the times, like, I'm not very religious, and when you go through your teenage phase where like your parents tell you like gotta go to church or and then you're like, nah, this shit is all bullshit and stuff like that. And then I'm like, why is it that all these powerful people always, whatever like cult they're in or whatever group they're in, it always finds its way back to faith and like, either some kind of religion. And you're like, well, these people aren't dumb, right? Like, they're not, if they believe in this for some reason, right? And they do, I don't know, rituals or shit like that. Maybe, like, there has to be something in it. Like, why would he name this the thing that, where supposedly Satan has his throne?
I don't know, man. We could speculate all day, but we'd never arrive at an answer. Guy's dead, right?
Yeah, he...
You're talking about World War II. I mean, shit, the dude's got to be fucking dead.
Well, he died. He had a yacht, and it was called Lady Ghislaine, and Ghislaine is his daughter.
Named it after his daughter.
Yeah, she was his favorite kid. He ended up going on the yacht, and nobody knew what happened, and then his body just appeared. So he drowned. But a lot of people speculate that probably somebody offed him or something like that. He was the speculation about him being involved in intelligence. There was it was like an Israeli, was it a ex-prime minister that was at his funeral?
I don't know about the funeral, but a Mossad agent came out and said that he was working with the Israeli government, funding businesses and so on.
Yeah, there was also another thing where I think he pledged like 200 million or something to Israel or something like that. And
what did he get out of that?
How did he get out of what?
What did he get out of that? What was the deal? If
I don't
he was
know.
pledging 200 million, what was the
I don't know.
what was on the receiving end there?
I don't. I mean, obviously, since nobody has really concrete things about this, but there was a story. There was an Israeli nuclear. I think it was like a nuclear physicist or something like that. Who was fleeing Israel, and he wanted. You know how right now nobody really knows if Israel has nukes. Officially, they say they don't.
Is that the current stance?
The official narrative is that Israel does not have nuclear weapons. I think that's what it was, but I'm gonna fact check.
Okay, so
Widely believed, but
neither confirms nor denies.
yeah, which obviously they do because of their neighbors, but they have never come out and been like, "Yeah, we got it."
Mm-hmm.
So I forgot what year this was in, but there was an Israeli somebody involved in nuclear or something. If you go back to the Discord, I think I wrote it over there. Or maybe I didn't. I'm an idiot. This guy was fleeing Israel. He wanted to sell that information to, I think, one of the publications in Britain, and Robert Maxwell persuaded him to sell it to the Mirror, his news thing. He was like, "Let us release it, blah blah blah." He never ended up releasing it, and then he gave that guy up to the embassy, the Israeli embassy in England, and then they ended up bringing him back to Israel and imprisoning him. So there's a lot of these things are connected in weird ways, and I know it's easier for people to just label things as conspiracy theories and coincidences, but I don't think everything is a coincidence, and I don't think everything is a conspiracy theory. I think sometimes truth is stranger than fiction, and that's what, I don't think it's a coincidence that all these people are involved and they know each other, and all this shit. I don't know.
That's the unfortunate part, dude. I mean, to figure all that stuff out, or to at least be given that information, you have to get to such a point where it's almost not feasible. Certain people get to that point, and there's a reason they get to that point. Money, familial connections,
Yeah,
influence, all that kind of stuff. You either get there through that, or make that yourself. But again, dude, you could speculate all you want, but
it's a spooky world we live in, is what I'm saying.
it sure is spooky.
And every time I looked into things like this, it feels like it just goes deeper and deeper and deeper, and then you end up wasting your time, because I think the worst part about being somebody who's very knowledgeable on conspiracy theories is what do you do with that information? What are you gonna do? You're gonna go outside and scream about it, post about it on Twitter?
You preach on the corner.
Yeah, what are you gonna
with
do?
A sign.
Before it was those guys the end is near and all this shit, and now it's just guys on Twitter. They're poisoning our water. They're turning the frogs.
You go from a schizophrenic on the street corner to a schizophrenic on Twitter.
Dude, yeah, man. That's social media for you. Everybody has a voice, a platform. And I don't know, it's just creepy. And I don't know, but you're not are you more prone to believe things like that, these weird connections, or do you usually just kind of think people fascinate with it?
Do I think people fascinate with it? Yes, I think people fascinate with it, absolutely. Do I think that connections like that don't exist? No, of course they exist, dude. To sit here and deny that extremely wealthy, extremely powerful, extremely influential people and nation states aren't doing things behind the backs of the average fucking Joe Schmo, it's ridiculous. It logically doesn't make sense. I mean, to sit here and believe that no, all this stuff is just completely unreal, none of that shit happens, all this stuff is bull. That is a stupid take to have, and that is a stupid hill to die on. Do people go crazy with it? Yeah. Are there things that those people should be worrying about instead of that? Yes. 100%. Look, dude, maybe I'm just like a little fucking hamster stuck in a wheel or whatever, but I got shit to worry about in my everyday life.
Yeah.
To where I can't sit there and fucking spend my life connecting the dots, connecting the red fucking thread and yarn and all that kind of shit. Am I saying that the red dots and the yarn connecting doesn't exist? No. I'm not saying that at all. But to obsess over it, you just end up ruining yourself.
We will see.
In my opinion.
We'll see how much your position changes when you're spraying us with chemtrails. You bastard. He's going to be up there polluting the air. I think he's going to be back on this podcast in 5 years when we're live in Indonesia. And he's going to be like, mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. I'm just an Amazon delivery guy.
I am just an Amazon delivery guy. All that stuff before was a lie. I'm not any of that stuff.
Oh my God. This was fun. I feel like time flew. But there you go. That's your hour, you fucks. This is a bonus episode. Now tell them to like and subscribe and send it to everyone. Go ahead, tell them. Because they don't listen to me. I don't think I'm intimidating enough. Go ahead.
Well,
tell them.
You heard the man. Like and subscribe. Fucking click that button. Like or dislike does not matter.
No. It matters.
No, it doesn't matter.
It matters.
It really doesn't
you
matter.
You better like it.
Look, like or dislike it, subscribe, send it to your friends, send it to your family, send it to your mother, send it to your father, send it to your sisters and your brothers, send it to your girlfriend, send it to your side hoe, send it to your main, send it to your side piece number 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Double digits.
I don't know how many of you fuck like that. Probably not many. I don't fuck like that.
Right.
Send it to everybody you know.
Yes.
But make a fucking email distro list and fucking spam it out to everybody.
Matter of fact, make 16 different YouTube accounts and subscribe to the channel.
Yeah.
That's the only way I'll know that you're a real one. Because
do whatever it takes.
Yeah. If we're out here.
Whatever it takes.
Exactly. If we're out here recording 2 hours and then editing, make the fucking accounts, bro.
It's not that hard.
It's not.
You click 2 buttons.
Yep.
In like 6 months, you'll be able to have ChatGPT make it for you.
Matter of fact, do it right now. I'm waiting.
We got all day.
Click the and the little bell.
Just so you know exactly when this all happens all over again.
and then we're not gonna see you for another like 4 years. He's back next week. All right. Thank you, Georgie, for stopping by. As always, and thank you all for watching. Respectfully disrespectful. Love your mother.
All opinions are my own.
Sponsored by the U.S. government. Okay, thank you so much. Bye. On the website, talking all night, then your friend died. Y'all was born whipping in exotic shit Italians. If y'all hit us, then let your talent get expanded. Use the tally, couldn't count it for the fam. We gon' beat the challenge outright. Making love to the